A career in the forestry industry was radically changed for Paul Greaves after he suffered a brainstem stroke. While in recovery, Paul worked on an idea he'd had about a sideline venture for forest owners and operators. That idea has become a business called ForestPlus Oils.
We make bulk essential oil for a company in the US, which is marketed through another New Zealand company. There are some very good companies in New Zealand selling aromatherapy grade materials, but not very many making them. Most of our product goes to a big US company and they bottle it into 5ml bottles and put it out on the shelf. I started in 1972 as a woodsman and worked my way up through to a management position at Juanita Forest Products in Dunedin, and I've done 42 years. Well, I've always been thinking about that could be getting something different from the waste residue, and about 8 years ago we looked into oils, but my job meant that I couldn't actually get into that part of it. Eventually I had a brainstem stroke, took a year to recover, and then met up with some guys that were quite interested in getting oils out of the wildlings in the Wakatipu Basin, and we've progressed from there. We are interested in manuka and kānuka, and about 7 or 8 of the exotic species that are grown here in New Zealand that have been tried by the government and other agencies for timber. We go in and take the wildlings and chip them up and bring them down here. Forest estate, we'll do road edges for nothing, but if we have to go into the stand itself, then we negotiate different packages with the different companies we're dealing with. Distillation's been done since the 1700s or before, but we use vacuum distillation, and the reason we've gone to vacuum distillation is that it runs everything at a lot of colder temperature. It runs at about 80 degrees, and we seem to keep the top notes. The other side of that is that we needed to have a system where we could change the load and keep production up. When you're dealing with Douglas fir with, say, 0.25% oil yield, you've got to have throughput. And we can't afford to be standing there waiting for things to cool down or to load it. So we've set up a system where everything's bagged in the field, comes to the still, loaded into the still in the bags. We can reload a pot in 12 minutes. And you're way below the threshold of people getting burnt or having issues. Everything's mounted on trailers. We can actually go out in the field and do it right on the side of the road. The only key is all water. We need cooling water. The still can only do 80 bags a day. So if we're in very good material, the guys can do that in half a day. So you've got 4 guys standing on the hill doing nothing. So what we do is we do 3 days cutting, if we can, and then they go away and do other work, silvicultural work, or so we can manage the manpower coming in and out, and that's why we do silvicultural work. This is young Douglas fir, been cut off the tree branch and chipped down to a fine level so it can pass through a distillation system. It's premium material and yields the sweetest oil that we produce. We try and keep the wood content down to the minimum we can, and we target the youngest trees in around about that 5 to 8 year age class. We can take them down to 2-year-old seedlings or wildlings. Once we get up to about age 10, the oil is not, its chemical makeup slowly changes.
Once the guys have brung the material back off the hill in the bags, we then process it through the still. We generally run 8 bags at a time. The bags are run for around 2 hours, depending on what the yield and flows are like. Once it's been cooked after that 2 hours, we then change all 8 bags, a single pot at a time, and then we will put it out in our mulch pile outside. We use a 30 kilowatt diesel burner with a specially designed element that we designed ourselves also. Generally with the vacuum system is that you can pull oil off quicker. Instead of running, say, a 3-hour cycle, you could knock it back to a 2-hour cycle. Rule of thumb, it's for every 100 kgs of material we put in is 250 mils of oil we get.
This is the product that goes into the distillation system, and this is what comes out. This is a really inert mulch. It's done 2 hours at 80 degrees Celsius. In the middle, we've got 4 litres of oil, which is equivalent to about $16,000 US retail price. These trees are a specific type, and we are looking at cropping these now. We're looking at planting specific provenances of Douglas fir that have come from certain parts of America that produce the highest quality oil and the best yield that we can get. And we're partnering with a few farmers now to have these stands grown specifically for the essential oil market. The time frame we're sort of working on is actually age 5 to age 8. So it's a short-term rotation crop, high yielding off a small area, and the returns are high. We only supply one essential oil to the US. We've done testing in 6 or 7 others, and we are always looking to market those in other ways. And as far as the still goes in New Zealand, we've been approached by a couple in Rotorua that are interested in looking at something, and we're partnering with a company in the North Island, Dumanuka.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.